Even if you shoot down your opponent with your incredible wit and knowledge, they will still leave the conversation resenting you. So, you lose either way. It's simply not worth your time to argue. We should remember the impact of making people feel important. Some people argue because they want to feel important. To counteract this, you can acknowledge their importance instead of arguing. Doing this allows their ego room to breathe, and you may then find they become sympathetic to your cause. If you notice you are wrong, you must admit your fault. Admit it quickly, openly, and with enthusiasm. When you condemn yourself, the other party's only option to nourish their own self-esteem is to defend you. Even when the other party's interests are clearly contrary to your own, it is a powerful weapon to admit your faults.
StoryShots is proud to bring you this free audiobook summary. Do you want to get access to more free audiobook summaries like this? Subscribe and click the bell button now to get notified each time we upload a new summary. You can also download our free app and enjoy thousands of other summaries of best-selling nonfiction books that are available in text, audio, and animated formats. StoryShots has been featured by Apple, Google, and The Guardian as one of the world's best reading and learning apps. Go to getstoryshots.com and download the app today. Happy learning!
Life gets busy. Has How to Win Friends and Influence People been gathering dust on your bookshelf? Instead, pick up the key ideas now. We're scratching the surface here. If you don't already have Dale Carnegie's must-read on relationships and influence, get the audiobook for free using the link in the description or the StoryShots app to learn the juicy details.
StoryShots book summary and analysis of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. About Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie was active in debating clubs while at State Teachers College in Warrensburg. After graduating, he worked as a sales agent in Nebraska and an actor in New York City, but his genuine passion was for public speaking. He started teaching public speaking at the Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA. The influence of these talks meant he ended up lecturing to packed rooms. Based on this success, Carnegie decided to create his own public speaking school. Public speaking courses based on his teaching methods are still influential today. Warren Buffett has a diploma from Dale Carnegie's public speaking course hanging in his office. Buffett is only one in a long list of successful people who give the author partial credit for their success.
Introduction.
How to Win Friends and Influence People was published in 1936 and became an instant bestseller. Dale Carnegie was already a famous public speaking coach and author of 5 other books. Out of his 11 books, this one has proven to be his most popular. It sold over 5 million copies throughout the author's lifetime and over 10 million more since then. Carnegie researched the lives of greats, from Julius Caesar to Thomas Edison. He also interviewed influential individuals like Franklin D. Roosevelt and Clark Gable. Based on these findings, he created a book that has become one of the best-selling books of all time. The book is based on a 14-week course he gave on human relations and public speaking.
Story shot number 1. Learn to handle people.
If you master these 3 techniques, you can handle most people. 1. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. It is basic human nature to reject criticism and justify your actions, but you need to become less defensive if you want to be successful. 2. The big secret of dealing with people. It is challenging to make people feel important. If you can do it, you will hold the key to dealing with people. Every person knows something you don't. So, seek to learn that thing in every interaction. You will make the other person feel important if you do this. 3. He who can do this has the whole world with him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. When you go fishing, you don't bait the hook with the strawberries you'd like to snack on. You use what the fish prefer: worms. Yet humans barge into interactions talking about what they want. This is a complete waste of time and effort. Instead, you should always ask yourself what the other person wants. Present your reasoning from their perspective.
Story shot number 2. Show people you are interested in them.
The first way you can make people like you is by showing interest in them. One simple way to do this is to record and remember people's birthdays. People like to be remembered. People also like to be admired and sought after for help. So if you need something from someone, tell them they are the only person who can help you. When you ask, request exactly what you need from them. Finally, make it as easy as possible for them to do it. Carnegie tells several stories about people who genuinely took an interest in the other person. Often, this interest wasn't remotely related to what they needed from them. This approach often results in the person giving you what you need. If you can effectively show genuine interest, you will beat all the sales techniques in the world.
Story shot number 3. Use your smile to make a good first impression.
A smile shows the other person that you like them, and you are glad to see them. That said, an insincere smile won't do you any good. So, preface your smile by being thankful for what you have. Happiness results from our inward condition, not our outward circumstances. We can control our inward state as thoughts. Try to think positively about other people to make your smiles more genuine.
Story shot number 4. Learn people's first names and use them.
Jim Farley was raised by a single mother around the turn of the 19th century. He started work as a bricklayer when he was 10 years old and got little education. But Farley ended up as the Postmaster General of the United States, chairman of the Democratic National Committee, and the man responsible for putting Roosevelt into the White House. Farley's secret was that he could call 50,000 people by their first names. Each time he met someone, he would ask about the person's name, family size, profession, and political leanings. This allowed him to create a mental picture. Remember and use a person's name, and they will like you.
Story shot number 5. Encourage people to talk about themselves.
Find what interests the other person. Encourage them to talk about themselves, and make sure you don't interrupt. Most people approach a conversation by trying to find a commonality. Sometimes you will struggle to find this shared interest. So, it is safer to focus on the other person's greatest interest and pay active and close attention. If you do this, they will find you to be an excellent conversationalist. Effective conversationalists can also diffuse heated conversations. All you have to do is listen to the other person until they have told their entire story and are satisfied they have expressed themselves. By that time, you should be able to address the problem from their viewpoint. Adopting their perspective will allow you to resolve the problem at hand.
Story shot number 6. Learn about other people's interests.
When Teddy Roosevelt was scheduled to meet someone the next day, he would stay up late to read about a subject that the person was interested in. Spend your energy on finding the other person's passion. This does not mean you should begin the conversation with that subject. You will be more effective if you let the subject emerge naturally.
Story shot number 7. Make people feel important and needed.
Whenever you meet someone, ask yourself, what is there about them that I can honestly admire? As we have already established, everyone wants approval, recognition, and a feeling of importance. It doesn't take much for you to deliver all those things. Practice doing this with everyone you meet, from post office clerks to business associates. Make it a habit, and together with the other practices we have learned about, it will improve your results and relationships.
Story shot number 8. Arguments aren't worth your time.
Even if you shoot down your opponent with your incredible wit and knowledge, they will still leave the conversation resenting you. So you lose either way. It's simply not worth your time to argue. We should remember the impact of making people feel important. Some people argue because they want to feel important. To counteract this, you can acknowledge their importance instead of arguing. Doing this allows their ego room to breathe, and you may then find they become sympathetic to your cause.
Story shot number 9. How to avoid making enemies.
You should never waste time trying to prove someone wrong. We are all influenced by our own cognitive biases. Carnegie suggests this script when you believe another person is at fault. Well, now look, I thought otherwise, but I may be wrong. I frequently am. And if I am wrong, I want to be put right. Let's examine the facts. If you notice you are wrong, you must admit your fault. Admit it quickly, openly, and with enthusiasm. When you condemn yourself, the other party's only option to nourish their own self-esteem is to defend you. Even when the other party's interests are clearly contrary to your own, it is a powerful weapon to admit your faults. A newspaper reader once wrote in to criticize one of Elbert Hubbard's articles. Here is the famous American writer's response. Come to think it over, I don't think I completely agree with it myself. Not everything I wrote yesterday appeals to me today. I am glad to learn what you think about the subject. The next time you are in the neighborhood, you must visit us, and we'll get this subject threshed out for all time. So here is a hand clasp over the miles, and I am yours sincerely.
Story shot number 10. Respond to anger with friendliness.
If we respond to anger with anger, we will never convince the other party. You should instead respond to anger with friendliness, sympathy, and appreciation. This will turn an angry situation into a productive one. Former U.S. President Woodrow Wilson put it this way: if you come at me with your fists doubled, I think I can promise you that mine will double as fast as yours. But if you come to me and say, let us sit down and take counsel together, and if we differ from one another, understand why it is that we differ from one another, just what the points at issue are, we will presently find we are not so far apart after all, that the points on which we differ are few, and the points on which we agree are many, and that if we only have the patience and the candor and the desire to get together, we will get together.
Story shot number 11. Emphasize the points you and another person agree on.
Never begin a conversation by immediately addressing how your opinion differs from the other person. Instead, start by emphasizing the points on which you agree. Keep reminding all parties involved that while you might differ in the preferred method, you are all striving for the same purpose. A skilled influencer can identify that common purpose. The result is that the other party gives permission for you to offer your opinions. A person's pride of personality demands they remain consistent with themselves. Getting someone to change their response is hard, so it is best to get things on track before you begin. Get the other person saying yes immediately. This is the end of part 1 and the free shot of this book. Get the full text and audiobook version on the StoryShots app. Which one of these key insights would you put into practice? Let us know by sending us a tweet to StoryShots. To dive into the details, order the full audiobook for free using the link in the description or the app. Did you like the lessons you learned here? Share to show you care, or let us know by contacting our support at support@getstoryshots.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Did you like this audiobook summary? Click the like button now to support our channel. If you don't want to miss out on new free audiobook summaries, subscribe and click the bell button. You can also download our free app and enjoy thousands of other summaries of best-selling nonfiction books that are available in text, audio, and animated formats. StoryShots has been featured by Apple, Google, and The Guardian as one of the world's best reading and learning apps. Go to getstoryshots.com and download the app today.